With Ukraine losing ground to Russia, as we've been discussing, President Biden hosted Poland's leaders at the White House yesterday on the 25th anniversary of Poland joining NATO. Poland is the largest NATO country bordering Ukraine, the most threatened if Russia defeats Ukraine. I sat down with the Polish Foreign Minister Radek Sikorski and began by asking him about how urgently Ukraine needs those weapons stalled in Congress.
The U.S. contribution is crucial in the area of defense. And that's why I'd like to repeat my appeal to Speaker Johnson to let that vote on the supplemental for Ukraine go to the floor, because with that, the Ukrainians can recover their lost territory and end the war.
There are some things that only the United States can provide, some kinds of air defenses and long-range missiles, the ATACMS. We have Ukrainian soldiers in trenches rationing their ammo and unable to fight back against the Russians, and the Russians are advancing. They're taking village after village now.
The Ukrainians are fighting like lions, but you can't defend yourself with bare hands. And this is important, I believe, for the United States. If Putin conquers Ukraine, he'll come to the Polish border, and then it will become a NATO business. And then possibly more Americans will have to be sent to Europe. I also think that Speaker Johnson should be particularly sensitive to the issue that Christians of non-Orthodox denominations are persecuted, both in Russia and in Russian-occupied territories. The Ukrainians are fighting for diversity, for democracy, for rule of law, for religious toleration as well.
You're appealing to Speaker Johnson as a man of faith, of deep evangelical faith, yet he seems to be answering to one man who's not even elected right now, the former President Donald Trump, who told the House Republicans not to vote for this.
The help to Ukraine wouldn't just be a good deed, it's also a good deal for the United States. The great majority of the equipment that Ukraine needs is manufactured in the United States. You know, they are actually helping the U.S. for the future, and all of us, because every time a U.S. Patriot battery shoots down a Russian aircraft that's bombing Ukrainian cities, the Patriot algorithm improves, and the Patriot missiles becomes better in the future.
What would you say to Donald Trump, who actually said that he would encourage Putin to go into countries, NATO countries, that don't pay their fair share?
Well, we hope that's just flowery rhetoric. He's right that we should be spending more in Europe. Poland is spending well over 3% of GDP on defense. And we've placed $50 billion worth of defense orders in the United States.
How afraid are you of Russia invading you? You're right there on the border.
Well, they've done it many times before.
Right.
And what they're doing in occupied territories, stealing children, torturing people, deporting people, exterminating Ukrainian culture is completely unacceptable. You know, we've learned lessons from 2 bloody world wars that you may not change borders by force. Putin can stop this war in 5 minutes with one phone call. Unfortunately, Ukraine can't.
Donald Trump is ahead in the polls in America right now. It's going to be a very tight election. How worried are you about what the next American presidency could mean in terms of Poland's security and NATO?
Poland wants to have excellent relationships with the United States, irrespective of who is in charge here. President Biden, of course, is a transatlanticist, and as I mentioned, he voted for joining NATO. But America has interests to do with credibility. You know, when the U.S. has spoken that Kiev will be defended, if that were not acted upon, it would be noticed by your allies around the globe. So I hope the U.S. will help the Ukrainians because they are defending themselves. They just need the means to do so.
And without the U.S. weapons, if Congress does not act, do you think Ukraine would be defeated? How long can they last?
Well, we in Europe are buying weapons too, you know. We've just had a merry-go-round of donations for the so-called Czech ammunition initiative. We are about to pass a European defense budget, a European peace initiative, 5 billion euros. That will mostly go to the help of Ukraine. On a per capita basis, many European countries are actually helping Ukraine more than the United States. It's just that you have the first-class defense industry and stockpiles, including stuff that you will otherwise spend money disposing of.
But how
Please
long,
give it to the people who need it.
How long can Ukraine hold out without?
That's not a question for me. I hope that not only will they hold out, that they will eventually win. I don't think Russia can sustain this war for more than a couple of years. You know, they are replacing the tanks that the Ukrainians so successfully destroy with refurbished stuff from Soviet stockpiles. And A, these are older and older hulks, and B, those stockpiles are also running out. So we just need to help the Ukrainians for a year or two more, and they can really win this.
My thanks to Radek Sikorski, the Polish foreign minister.